Good evening. I have been promising to do a follow-up video for quite a while to cover specific skin and coat symptoms, topical applications that we can do in the salon, how to form care packages in the salon for our clients that come in with symptomatic skin and coat. And I'm finally getting to it. I did do a shorter version of this topic a while back, so there's another live stream or a recorded live stream available in the class as well, or in the group as well, that talks more about dialoguing with clients and how to check in clients and what type of questions to ask, and then a little bit about specific products. So what always happens at the classes is that we get through all of the lengthy physiological material on the first day, and the second day we get into our topicals, tools and things like that, and then we run out of time to really go over how to apply that info when you get back in your salon. So the purpose of the live stream tonight is to go over some of that and then to share some product recommendations, not necessarily specific to brands, but different types of products that you can use in the salon for certain symptoms, and to go over our flow chart a little bit, and to talk about different types of shampoos as well. If you guys have any questions, certainly hold on to those and we'll do a Q&A at the end. The Q&A unfortunately won't be available in the recorded version unless I can implement that during the course of the recording here, meaning that if you guys ask me a question, our chat won't be shown in the live stream, but I can certainly reiterate the questions that are coming through, which is why I have this other phone here, and then get to those questions via the recording so that everyone can still get those questions answered. And if you had to leave but you wanted to type in a question early, it's there and I have it in order to refer to it. Okay, so we're gonna get started. Let's see, we talked briefly in class about the check-in procedure, the nose to tail assessment. One of the most important things I think when you are looking at adding skin and coat care services to your salon as it currently exists without completely revamping everything is to try to get yourself an area where you can thoroughly check in a pet. It may not be quite so important if the pet is a regular client, a client that you're extremely familiar with, but you do always want to go over that dog as thoroughly as you can and as quickly as you can during check-in regardless. We don't always find things right away, obviously, when they come in. Sometimes things like mats or fleas, ticks, things like that can come up after the fact. But if you can take a good look at the pet while they're walking around in your reception area, try and note anything that might stick out to you, ask the client if there's anything that has developed or changed since the last visit, and then take a good look as much as you can at the skin in the coat. So the coat first, obviously you're going to take in the whole coat, take a look at what the dog's got, if it's healthy and thick and looks good, or if it's lackluster, if it's sparse in areas, or just lumpy. You know, you can kind of sometimes see dogs when they come in just from across the room that there's mats here and there. As you develop your eye as a groomer, you'll notice that you can notice things like that a lot more readily. So you want to take a good look at the coat color, texture, look for any matting and density, whether it's packed or sparse. If you can, with a small dog or a large dog, get down in a safe area where you're not encroaching on the pet while the owner's there. Sometimes pets can be very protective of the owner, so you do obviously want to exercise caution. I have an area on my countertop that I can put the small and medium dogs right on the end of the counter, right next to my table, and check them in, put them up. I'll run my hand against the growth, well, with the growth of coat first. You know, you want to greet the pet, and then against the growth of coat, just to take a look at the hair itself and feel the texture and the density of the coat, and to try to take a look at the skin underneath it if I can see any flakes, if anything is odorous, that's another thing. If the dog will let you, take a quick look at the feet, see if the nails are overgrown, if there's any matting or redness around the nail beds. Another thing, if the dog is comfortable with it, is to take a quick look in the ears, a quick look at the teeth, and a quick look at the eyes. All of those things are connected. So if there's a dog that comes in that's odorous, itchy, the skin may look flaky or may look oily, the coat can be dry or lackluster, meaning it's just not very lustrous and not very colorful. A lot of times in collaboration with that, you'll see issues with the mucous membranes, the skin around the eyes can be red, weepy, there can be excess eye material or eye waste or drainage. The lips, the lip area, the foo area of the dog can be stained red. You know, you want to be careful anytime you're looking directly up close at a dog's head and in its mouth area, that you're respecting their space, obviously, and handling yourself very carefully. But try and get a look at the teeth, and definitely try to look at the ears. We all know if the dogs come in and they're symptomatic on their skin and coat, a lot of times they also have ear issues, and they'll have weepy and drainy eyes. I do have clients that'll come in and say, God, you know, he just smells and I don't know where it's coming from. And a lot of times it's coming from their ears and they don't even know it. You know, they're loving on the dog, they're petting the dog, and the dog is up next to them, and the odor is right there, and the source of it is in the ear canal. So try to be thorough when the pet comes in, and take in as much as you can, and talk with the owner before they leave to assess the situation, address any symptoms you may see. Remember that we're not diagnosing, but we're dialoguing, so we're using descriptive words like his ears are odorous tonight, or his ears look swollen, they're red, puffy, they're draining, things like that. You don't necessarily want to nail yourself or paint yourself into a corner by saying something like, you know, there could be an infection in this ear. Just keep it simple, address the things that you see, and then remember to document as much as you can. In our group, we have the pet medical release form, we have a matted pet release form, and then we have a medical report card. So that is something that you give the owner after the groom as a follow-up, and it just talks about whatever issues you saw on the dog physically, and it gives you a chance to disclose that to the owner in writing. You can or cannot, whichever, have them sign it when they come back. If anything comes off the dog, in my opinion, if it falls off the dog in the course of the visit, it gets bagged and tagged and given to the owner when the owner comes back. So you can have them fill that out before they leave if that's what makes you feel comfortable. Some groomers just feel better speaking up about things while the owner's there, and a little more uncomfortable with speaking up after the owner's left for fear of blame. But you always want to try to advocate for the animal and speak up about anything that you find. So again, those forms are available in our group. I can certainly bump them to the top, but they're all in there, and you can copy and paste them. You can, actually I don't think you can copy and paste them, I shouldn't say that, because they're saved in there as files and as photos. So you would want to, you know, read what's on there, change it around so that it would, you know, fit your business, and then that's something that you can keep on hand to have the owners handle when they come in. Okay, let's see. So as part of the dialogue process and the check-in process, we've mentioned talking about symptoms, and we're also going to want to try to recommend care services or topical products that we can use that might benefit the pet when they're with us for that visit. You can consider if it's a dog that has dryness or flakiness or itchiness or lackluster coat. Is he itchy while being pet? Is he itchy while being combed or brushed when he's put up on the table right away? Something like that, I would definitely recommend an active ingredient shampoo and a good remoisturizing conditioner treatment. A lot of dogs that experience just generalized all over itchiness are just dry. They're very dry, and what happens is because of the superficial dermal nerve endings that are present just under the skin surface, when the skin becomes really dry, those can become damaged or severely irritated, and that will cause itchiness. Sometimes just a good bath and a really good conditioning treatment can alleviate that generalized itching. Right now, this time of year, we are about 3 weeks into the season where most people have already clicked on their forced air, their central heating systems, and that will bring with it a rash of dogs that are coming in, and the owners are saying, yeah, he's just really dry, or he's just really itchy all the time, and they can't quite figure out what it is. And sometimes it's just that the air has become so dry that they've become itchy just like us. So it's important at that point in time to try to get them in a little bit more often for a good bath and a good grooming and a really good remoisturizing treatment. Aside from the active ingredient shampoos, you can talk to them about whether or not they're going to need that hydrating or reconditioning treatment. You can talk to them about a soak or a detox mask if they're coming in with allergy symptoms, so they're really itchy or they have red spots on the skin, areas where they've been scratching and the hair is broken or thinned. You can talk about paw-to-cure packages if they're chewing their feet or itching their feet, depending on the time of year or just the symptoms that you may have seasonally in your area. The paw-to-cure package is something that I do. It's really easy to add to your care package. I do that for dogs that have the red porphyrin staining and the yeast staining between the toes, around the nail bed, dogs that are itching and chewing their feet a lot. And you can do that. You can either fill up a couple of inches of water, warm water in the bottom of your tub, or you could stand up the dog. If it's a small to medium dog, you can use a small cat litter pan. If it's a larger dog, you can use just a clear plastic storage tote of some type. And you just run enough water in there to cover them up to their ankles, warm water. And to that I'll add, usually your bath bombs are a good place you can start. The Moore in London makes a paw fizz soak. These are really nice too, they have a really good scent to them. And there's a little bit of a surfactant in this, so they do clean and kind of bubble up debris a little bit. But a good quality bath bomb is fine as well. Something that's sodium bicarbonate and citric acid base will help to effervesce and clean off all the particulate debris, kind of soak that up off of the skin. How do I want to say, they'll bloat and then lift off superficial dead skin cells, and just alleviating all of that particulate debris and getting the yeast, so fungus and bacteria, kind of neutralized on the skin. Sometimes can give them a few days of residual relief. So you put that warm water in there, you add your sodium bicarbonate soak or bath bomb or paw fizz. You can even use a Nagayu tab if you have some of those too. You don't have to put it in a shower head. You can just put one of those tabs in the warm water. And most of the well, in Nagayu you could probably use 5 gallons of warm water with, but the bath bombs that are a little looser compact, or the paw fizzes, you'd probably use like 1 golf ball size bath bomb to 3 to maybe 5 gallons of water. And then let them soak in that for at least 3 minutes. 5 minutes is probably a little bit better. You can use a soft bristle brush and clean around the nail bed if they'll let you handle their feet. Sometimes, you know, if they've been really aggressively chewing and itching, they can be kind of sensitive or irritated, so you wouldn't want to rub up in there too much. But while you're doing that, you know, take a look in between the pads and see if there's any foreign material, any mats up in there, and that might be another source of why they'd be chewing or licking on their feet as well. So then after you let them soak and you've done some careful scrubbing to get all of the particulate debris off of the feet and toenails, you can take that and empty out the sodium bicarbonate, and then you can just wash their feet with a good gentle cleanser. They do make paw scrubs that have a little bit of a mechanical exfoliant in them, like, you know, apricot shell or sand, walnut shell, that kind of thing. And that's fine too, you could do that as well. Some people will say, do you recommend a tea tree shampoo? You can use a tea tree shampoo, just be careful, obviously. Tea tree is a pretty serious essential oil, so some of those shampoos will have a perfumer's tea tree in them, and they won't smell like actual tea tree. It'll just have kind of a cleaning, like a clean scent to it. But if it's a true tea tree oil shampoo, you just want to make sure that when you use it, you rinse it all off really well. Because if they're already licking their feet, you want to be sure you don't leave any soap on there or anything that might exacerbate the problem. So you rub that in, rinse it off, and then I always follow up as a final step after I've done the whole groom, just to make sure that the feet are re-moisturized. They have a paw butter, actually a hydrating butter from Moore in London again. Davis has a really good nose and elbow cream, I think it's called. That works really well, and it has a really good kind of minty scent to it. So you want to rub some type of lotion in there. Dermagic has a lotion as well. So that's a final process, and you want to be sure and rub it in really good and give them a little time. Maybe put a towel in the bottom of the kennel, or if you have, like I have the rolled Sherpa beds, just something to make sure that they wipe off the excess lotion. You don't want to overdo it. You don't want to make a mess in their car. that would be a bad thing. So, but that final remoisturizing treatment is really, really important. And you certainly can keep on hand some of these items to sell the owners too, so that they can do some at-home care if you feel comfortable doing that. Any probably quality lotion without a heavy scent or a lot of additives to it would be fine. I mean, even Johnson's baby lotion might be okay. You just want to obviously exercise caution when you're recommending human products for pets, but as long as you stay within category, you're usually pretty okay when it comes to transferring human product versus pet product. Another thing that I do, this time of year especially, are the warm oil or hydrating masks. And that, what I have been doing lately, there's a lot of different ways you can do that. I've done, coconut oil in the past, but I found that coconut oil can be occlusive, meaning it can kind of build up and actually clog the follicle with long-term use. So if you do a coconut oil treatment, I would recommend a clarifying shampoo in the next visit just to make sure you get everything off. But there are lighter oils. Vitamin E oil is really good too. Jojoba oil is another good one. And what I'll do is I will take, let's see, a few drops of the jojoba oil, and I'll mix that in with, I happen to be using at current the Show Season's Hypo shampoo or Hypo conditioner. So that's just a nice cream conditioner, a good acidifier for the skin and coat, and there's no scent and no color to it. So I'll take about a cup of that, maybe a half a cup of that, depending on the size of the dog. And per half cup, they'll get about 10 drops of jojoba oil. And that is frothed. I think we talked about frothing at the last class. So it's frothed and whipped into that conditioner really well. And then that's applied over the dog. I don't usually do the top of the head or the ears, unless there's dry skin or something kind of abnormal on the ears, but usually I leave that area alone, and it goes from the neck all the way down. You don't necessarily have to apply it to the legs and feet unless you see at check-in that the dog has flakiness and itchiness, or not itchiness, but flakiness or coat loss and things like that on the legs and feet. But you should do at least the whole trunk of the dog, and then rub it in really good with your hands, and then over that you want to apply a warm wet towel. So you take a towel in the tub and run it under your shower sprayer with warm water, squeeze it out a little bit, and then wrap it nice and snug around the dog from the neck down. You do have to be careful with seriously, well, how do I want to say, medically challenged pets or geriatric pets that might have some type of an underlying medical condition. You wouldn't want to do it with a pregnant dog. Obviously, you don't want to raise core temperature on those dogs. But you wrap the dog and then let that sit for about 5 minutes and develop on the coat. Always stay tub side. Always keep an eye on the animal to make sure that they're not nodding off and that they're safe, not slipping around in the tub at all. And then over that, you can apply your regular shampoo. You can rinse first if you like, and then apply your shampoo. You can do that as a final procedure if you want. So you can do it either pre or post shampoo, depending. If the dog is really, really oily and has a lot of buildup on the coat, you can actually do it before the shampoo to kind of grab onto some of that oil-based dirt and help wash all that away during the bathing procedure, or you can do it just as a final hydrating treatment. And that's something that I have found, you don't have to do a full hot oil or warm oil hydrating treatment on every dog, but at a minimum, you should be applying a really good cream rinse conditioner or a really good hydrating coat mist to every dog that comes in the salon. We always want to be sure that we're replacing whatever our bathing procedure rinses away during the course of the grooming visit, and we don't want to put those dogs at a disadvantage for remoisturization, especially if they're coming in and they're already itchy or already dry or already flaky. Okay, let's see. Detox mud and clay masks. So there's a lot of muds in the industry. Two of the more common ones are Madra More Esprit has one, Davis I believe has one now, and then Ocha. I like Ocha. They have really good muds, and they're all infused with at least one type of oil, if not a couple types of oil. They smell really good. So do the Madre Moore, smell really, really good. Shipping on these guys can be a little costly, especially if you're getting the gallon size containers of Madre Moore. I usually, honestly, will stock up on my Madre Moore at the trade shows because the weight of that stuff is the amount of money that you spend on shipping. You could buy more muds. So they do make these. These are nice for cocker size or smaller dog. This would be enough mud to do a single treatment. And this can go on if the dog has, you know, hot spots and lackluster coat and they've been itching and they're just kind of inflamed and warm and moist feeling. I would definitely put your mud on before the bath. I put it right on that coat. Mud absorbs and adsorbs, so it will grab onto coat pollutants, contaminants that are kind of riding around in the coat and on the skin surface and hold onto those. They don't re-release. So whether it's just a Dead Sea mud or an activated carbon mud, a clay mask, this is apple cider and vinegar. These are from Freeman and very cost effective. This is enough to do a cocker sized dog head to toe. And there's also, I know I had another one around here somewhere. Oh, this one. So this is something that they just started carrying at Walmart. So it's bentonite clay, and all it is just it's just plain old bentonite clay with a little bit of vitamin E oil in it and a preservative. And I'm gonna make a mess. You can add this to your conditioning cream rinse. You can add that right in there and let that sit on the coat just like you would your illegal oil that we talked about when we added the, oh goodness gracious, when we added the illegal oil to the conditioner for a hot oil treatment. So, yikes. That's all right, it's just clay. Anyway, the muds or the masks, those most usually are going to be truly beneficial before you wash the dog. You can wash the dog first if you want, but remember with a lot of these skin therapy treatments, once you add water to the equation, you're kind of dampening the effect and the beneficial ability of your whole ingredient product, whether it's colloidal oatmeal or the mud, clay, if it's diatomaceous earth, things like that that you add to the products that you're using on the dog. Once you put water in the equation, it kind of, what's the word? I can't think of the word. Whatever. It's not as strong. Like we talked in class about having the oatmeal added to a shampoo where you're kind of losing some of the benefit of the beneficial colloidal oatmeal powder when you're adding it to a shampoo, where we talked about the 2-in-1 conditioning shampoo or conditioner plus shampoo. Anytime you try to combine steps, you're thereby going to cancel out a little bit of the true and full benefit of either one. So in my opinion, and I have a lot of people that will ask, do I do this stuff before I get them clean? And I would usually say yes. Before you apply your shampoo, you're going to want to do your masks. You're going to want to do your muds. You're going to want to do your apple cider vinegar rinse. And especially if you're co-washing, like if you're washing with a conditioner to help grab onto that really dirty, oily, waxy debris that's in the coat of some dogs that have symptoms, that's important to do that before you introduce shampoo and water into the mix. Diluted, that's the word. You're going, anytime you take a full strength treatment and you add water to the mix, you're thereby diluting it and therefore losing some of the efficacy. Okay, let's see. What else here? Soaks. I actually have a two-part video on soaks that I released through Positive Educational Training for Mary Aquendo quite a while back, and those will soon be available. I think they're probably available the end of this week. I have to hold on to those for a certain amount of time and honor the contract that I have with Mary to release educational material for her specifically, and then after a certain point in time I can release it to other avenues. So that should be available within a week or two, and I'm going to put that up in the group. Soaks are, in my opinion, something that's commonly overlooked in the salon just because of how simple they are, but they are very, very, very beneficial. As I mentioned earlier, some of the dogs that come in that are itchy all the time and just, flaky or overly oily and symptomatic just need a good thorough washing and a good thorough rehydration, and that can be all the difference, and they need more regimented grooming care. But the soaking can be done in your tub if you have a way to stop up your tub. I have a small laundry tub in the back that I use for bathing my cats in, as well as doing the larger dogs, cockers, well, smaller dogs, cocker-sized dogs on down can go in that laundry tub. And then my main tub, I can stop that off and do a dog all the way up to like golden retriever size up to its neck. You can do it however you prefer. I've seen people buy the hydrotherapy tubs. I've seen people buy large storage bins and just use those. But pure water soaking for 10 to 12, maybe 15 minutes at most before you do the bathing process can alleviate a ton of proteinaceous buildup in the coat. It helps with joints and soft tissue tension and things like that. And it just helps to superficially detox anything that's kind of lurking on the skin surface or a little bit down into that follicle cup. In those videos, we'll get more into soaking because I do go over some specific products you can use during the soak and different ways that you can implement it and some of the equipment that you can try out while you're implementing a soaking regimen. But to get you started, I would say you can usually find a way to do a healing soak, a pure water soak, or a soak with some Dead Sea salts, or Epsom salts, or Himalayan salts added, or a colloidal oatmeal soak. We mentioned colloidal oatmeal powder in class, and the type that I've been getting is, you can buy it in bulk off of cleopatraschoice.com. So Cleopatra, like the Egyptian, cleopatraschoice.com. They sell large containers of pure colloidal oatmeal. If you're in a pinch, you can get the 3-pack or 6-pack sachets in a box of Aveeno colloidal oatmeal, and all it is finely ground pure oatmeal powder. And you can do that in your soaking water if you prefer. It is important to do some type of agitation with your soaking water. If you can't pull that off, that's okay. Just whirring your hand around in the water and rubbing the dog's skin and coat while they're soaking is fine as well. I happen to have a portable, what's it called? A Conair portable whirlpool, personal whirlpool spa. And it has 2 heads on it, 2 intakes, and then 2 vents. So it gets the water going really, really well for a dog, cocker size or smaller. And you can implement that if you like. You can use a power head for a fish tank. I did that in the past where I had a large power head. And then just put a bit of sponge over the intake so that I didn't get hair up in the impeller, and that turned water over really, really well. You get a great whirlpool action with those. And they're not as expensive. You can pick them up at pretty much any of the pet store chains usually for like a 100-gallon tank is under $50. You can get them on Amazon too, but that will help to create a nice current in the soaking water. And so let's see, soaks are done before bath, in my opinion. That will help kind of lessen your mechanical load that you have on the coat that you have to remove with mechanical bathing. And like I said in class, I probably wouldn't soak a dog for more than, you don't want full immersion on a coat for more than 15 minutes. At that point in time, you're looking at possible dehydration because the skin can only take up so much moisture before it begins to re-release and dehydrate. So I know you'll see in some of the hydrotherapy groups that groomers are soaking dogs for half hour, 45 minutes. I mean, it's your choice. I just wouldn't do that. I would be careful because you're probably going to at that point dry out the coat and dry out the skin. Even if you reapply a moisturizing treatment after that, there's been so much cellular sloughing and well, saturation of the skin that you probably are going to have to, you'll probably have itchiness and dryness afterwards, especially if the water is really warm. But anyway, so let's see, I keep getting sidetracked. Soaks, activated charcoal shampoo, or activated charcoal as a soak. So activated charcoal has been something that more and more products are latching onto. Our industry always follows the human cosmetology industry, and activated charcoal has been up and coming with them in the last few months. I've got the iGroom Charcoal Keratin Shampoo and then the Pro Keratin Leave-In Conditioner. I love both of these. I have had some groomers tell me that their dogs were itchy after using the charcoal and keratin protein treatment. And I think that this is a cocamino-propylbutane based surfactant. It could be sensitivity to that cocamino-propylbutane. We talked about that in the last class. If you have a dog that seems allergic to everything as far as a cleansing agent or a shampoo, it could be the cocamino-propylbutane. So again, another reason why we need to be trying to use products where we have all the ingredients on hand on the label or at the ready in case we do have some type of a reaction like that. But it's very important to know what's in the stuff. And if you do see cocamino-propylbutane on the label, I would say maybe next time try a protein-based shampoo or a protein-infused shampoo, but try to stay away from one that has that as a co-surfactant. Sodium lauryl sulfate, sodium laureth sulfate together. Those are a little bit harsher shampoo. And then there's also the glucoside shampoos as well that are the sugar-based shampoos that are slowly working their way into the market, and those can be really helpful as an alternative as well. It's not every dog, but if you do have a dog that's sensitive to everything, sometimes it's that cocamino-propylbutane that's in a lot of the shampoo surfactants that's used as a co-surfactant to help buffer harshness. But activated charcoal actually works a lot like your colloidal oatmeal powder and a lot like your mud. So it absorbs, it grabs onto what's in the coat and it adsorbs, so it holds onto it and doesn't re-release it. If you look at activated charcoal under a microscope, it looks like pumice stone, tiny, tiny little particles that are full of even tinier bubbles and a lot of surface area. So that surface area is very porous and it will hold on to protein-based things in the coat, whether it's an allergen or even just, pieces of cellular material and stale sebum and things like that are sitting in the follicle cup. It holds onto that, and then when you wash, it uses the surfactant to rinse all of that oil-based dirt from the coat. So it can be incredibly helpful. I actually make, bath bombs that have an activated charcoal center. So it's like a jawbreaker, if you will. In the middle is just a pouch of activated charcoal, and then the sodium bicarbonate bath bomb is around that, okay? It's a little bit bigger than this. It's about the size of a softball. So it would be, this size would probably be okay for like a Shih Tzu or smaller size dog, but I would probably, if you have a true symptom or an issue going on with the coat, I'd probably use 2 of these. And if the dog is larger than a cocker, you want to go to like a baseball size or a small grapefruit size bath bomb. In the higher end stores, I know Hy-Vee sells real nice crafted bath bombs that are darn near the size of a grapefruit, and those would work great, like 1 or 2 of those for maybe a Labrador that's not too big, or a small golden retriever that has some heavier coat. Your sodium bicarbonate, whether it's a loose powder or a formed bomb or a puck like the Nagayu pucks, these can be used without the shower head. The shower head is great though because of the pressure that it gives, but the Nagayu pucks can be used in a soak as well. And these just effervesce and they slough off the particulate debris, they neutralize pH, they kill back bacteria and fungus that's present on the skin, and they do a really thorough job of cleansing the coat, so you'll get a really nice, crisp, clean coat, and the skin will be real pert and nice and shiny. It's very important to recondition after using any of these soaking type agents or any things that effervesce like this, but sometimes I have found that a sodium bicarbonate balm or loose powder soak or a tablet added to the rinsing water or doing a full soak before the bathing process is the missing link when it comes to dealing with these dogs that just generally all the time have itchiness or allergy symptoms. And I always say allergy symptoms because allergies are some of the most commonly misdiagnosed medical malaise that walk into the average veterinary clinic. So just remember, you don't want to overlook thorough cleansing as part of the process to alleviating something as common as generalized itching and flakiness. Okay? All right. Probiotic shampoos. Those are newer to the market too. I happen to have the Scout's Honor shampoo. I like it. Smells really good. Cleans just as good as every other shampoo. I have had some groomers tell me that they got very itchy after using it, or that they were wheezy, and it certainly could be a generalized, some type of an allergic reaction. I definitely, if you had those issues, would not reuse it again, but it does give you the full ingredients list on the back. So if you have an issue, you can get on your MSDS or MDS app or online and take a look at the individual ingredients and see if there's anything that has been a respiratory, airway sensitizer or a contact sensitizer that's listed for humans. I've not heard any problems with it causing an issue with dogs being itchy. Still on the fence as to whether or not a probiotic that is in a shampoo formulation and then rinsed off, if that's actually truly beneficial, but this is one product that actually contains, I'm not going to be able to think of what it's called, but it's a cyclical coating agent so that it slowly releases the probiotics. So they supposedly deposit on the coat and then are slowly released after the bathing process. And that could be part of why they are helpful for so many pets. I've never had an issue with it, and I've never had a dog get itchy afterwards, so I would say at this point I'd give it a try. Certainly can't hurt. It's a company that is environmentally conscious, and they definitely tell you everything that's in their product, and they do clean really well too, and they smell nice. Zymox is another company that's up and coming. They have more and more, every time I talk to the rep, they've got more and more options out there for addressing itchiness and things like that. This shampoo for itch relief and the coinciding conditioning rinse work really, really well. The only thing that I have found on to help a dog that comes in with severe itchiness and sparse coat due to itching, the only thing I've found that works as well would be the Microtech from Equus. Equus, the 1 and 2 work really, really well too for dogs that come in that are extra itchy. You can buy larger packages of these, obviously. I usually just grab a handful of the trial size whenever I'm at the shows to have on hand, and they work really well. They smell nice and they cleanse really well too. Show seasons in your gift bags. I think this year, in pretty much all the gift bags, I had the hemp shampoo from Show Season. This is a really, 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 really good shampoo. Cleanses really well. It's a conditioning shampoo, so it doesn't overly strip the coat, and there is plenty of hemp oil in there for that conditioning action, and it has a really, really nice scent. It doesn't dilute high. It's only, I think, up to 10-1. But I switched to using it when I started having the dogs come in itchy. I switched to using this a couple weeks ago, and the dogs are coming out really, really clean and really soft, and they smell really nice as well. In my proportioner, I'll always do like a gallon of the 84-1 and a gallon of the hemp shampoo because this doesn't dilute quite so much. And that'll make it go a little bit further without really losing that softening and conditioning and rehydrating action of the hemp oil. All right, let's see. Make sure I went over everything I wanted to hit on. Benzoyl peroxide shampoo, someone popped into the group and asked about that. Davis has a really good benzoyl peroxide shampoo. At current, that is the only true BP shampoo that I know of. There is also Soothe shampoo. That is an antibacterial, antifungal shampoo, kind of like the Hibla Cleanse shampoo. It has that similar scent that's kind of masked with the fresh, it's like a fresh spa scent. But Show Season Smooth is a really good shampoo to have on hand for dogs that come in generally itchy and flaky or oily. Remember, we talked in class that dogs can be dry and still be oily, because dogs that are dry and itchy are typically trying to produce as much oil as they can to help redistribute the moisture to the skin mantle and to the hair coat. So they're going to be extra greasy, extra oily. Every time they're itching and scratching or rubbing on something, they're activating that erector pili muscle that is going to distribute just a small bit of oil up the hair shaft and onto the skin. So if they're doing that over and over and over again, they're going to get oilier and oilier. So it's really important to get them really clean and not overly strip the coat. I wouldn't wash them with a clarifier per se, but I'd wash them with a good, gentle cleansing shampoo. And then I'd follow up with a good hydrating cream rinse or a good hydrating mist afterwards. All right, I think that is just about everything. Let's see. That's everything I had on my list. Oh, apple cider vinegar. Yeah, I almost forgot about that. So apple cider vinegar rinse, this is another thing you can use for dogs that are odorous or yeasty and smelly. You can warm a bit of this in the microwave. I always keep a glass measuring cup at the salon here, and I'll warm that up a couple of cups at a time and then put it in a shampoo proportioner bottle, like the 32 ounce, and you can just squirt that over the dog from the base of the neck. You want to be careful not getting it obviously in the eyes, from the base of the neck all the way over the dog before you wash them. And what that does is it closes the hair cuticle and it neutralizes the skin pH and it kills back bacteria and fungus immediately. So you're basically giving yourself a clean slate, and then you're going to apply your shampoo over the top. But it's important not to pour it on cold, right? Don't pour it on them ice cold, because that's not fun. You can dilute it if you want, but in my opinion, apple cider vinegar should be used as a skin therapy, whereas your white vinegar would be used for a drying agent, an acidifier, that helps the coat to dry faster, or for surface cleaning. But you can use white vinegar too, that's fine. It's just that there's not quite so many active ingredients in white vinegar because it's distilled. And the pH is higher as well. Okay, do we have any questions? Let me walk around here. Actually, let's do this. Let me pull them up here and see if we can get in chat real quick. Bear with me. Okay. My face is so red. Is it really red? Wow. I was out in the wind earlier today. Jamie Lee, dilutes, yes. Okay, so let's see here. The last brand, yes, was Zymox. Z-Y-M-O-X. Lori Ann Newcomer asked. Can I pause this, please? Boy. Bear with me, guys. I'm sorry. How do we find those forms? Lorianne, I will bump those forms to the top of the group, okay? And then I won't tag you in them. I'll just write bump, and it'll pull them all up out of the files and right to the top. Yes, Tracy Carter, Dr. Teal's. The bath bombs that have eucalyptus and Epsom salts in them, amazing. They're okay off the shelf. They have all the ingredients listed, so you don't have to worry about knowing or not knowing what's in them. And they work really, really well just to have on hand and plop in the water and have at the ready. They make a few different types, and they also have the loose salt treatments, but those don't include the sodium bicarbonate. So you're going to lose a lot of the effervescing effect, the cleansing effect, but you'll still get the Epsom salt, like the soaking and inflammation alleviating effect, or antipyretic too. It will help with, antipyretic means that it helps to lessen itchiness. Can you comment on the names of these products? Cheryl, let me know what you mean. Can you comment with the names of these products? Let me know what you can clarify. I want to help you out, but let me know what you're talking about here. Okay. Where do you buy the Freeman's Mud? Freeman's Mud I actually just found at Five Below, I think that's called. It's like a store that's new in this area where everything's $5 or less. These were $1 something, and they're ready to use, super easy to apply to the coat, and they've got a mud mask. They also have a peel, which I wouldn't use because that would be a mess in the coat, so make sure you're getting the mud masks or the scrub. This has red clay and apple cider vinegar in it. It doesn't smell very good. It smells a little appley, but it's not off-putting or anything. And then the other is a detoxifying charcoal and black sugar. So this would be something you would really find beneficial to use on like a hairless crested or a dog that has comedos, because this has a pulling effect. Oh goodness. I really want to stop that, but I don't want to lose you guys. I'm sorry. Anyway, this is something that's going to have a detoxifying, it's going to have a pulling effect to it. Between the sugar, you're getting some mechanical exfoliation, and then the charcoal is going to hold on to whatever that sugar pulls from the coat. And remember too that sugar is a humectant, so it's good at holding moisture in the coat or in the skin. It has a pulling or a detox effect as well as a moisturizing effect. And this has a 10-minute mask, and it doesn't smell like anything, which makes sense because activated charcoal, if it's really full of activated charcoal, shouldn't have a scent to it. All right. But yeah, I found those at Five Below. I know they have them at Wally World. They probably have them at Target. But Freeman has been making masks and peels and wipes for a really, really long time for the human cosmetic industry. And they do obviously have all of the ingredients listed on the label as well. All right, let's see. Did we get any new ones here? I'm so sorry. Print them in the comments. Sure. So we've got Jamie Lee, see him at Walmart too. Good. Hi, Kevin. Let's see. Would you use a bath bomb before the bath? Yes, Karen, I would use a bath bomb before the bath, always. You want to let these effervescing products, whatever they may be, do a lot of the mechanical work for you, as well as the cellular debris removal. Like they're going to plump up and slough off the outermost layer of the stratum corneum, or the surface of the skin cells, the ones that are visible to us. Anything dead is going to be bubbled up and off, so you would definitely want to use that. That's also going to help to bubble up and off any surface contaminants or pollutants that are sitting in the coat. A lot of just environmental contaminants that can be sensitizers or cause an allergic reaction are just things that have been in the environment and built up in the coat, and they may be partially broken down, or there may be a secondary bacteria that's feeding off of them, and in that process they'll cause itchiness. But so getting them off with something that effervesces and kind of clears out all of that debris can sometimes also be an incredible alleviator of just generalized itchiness. Yes, thank you, Jamie Lee, for dilutes. I just had a total brain fart there. Hi, Jody. Jody, I hope you guys are doing good. I hope you're hanging in there. I haven't tried the Warren London's Butter Wash. I haven't tried that. But I really like their paw fizzes, and I really like the hydrating butter for noses and paws. And it's not, I have this on my counter so that clients can see it, especially during the cold winter months. and they'll usually grab a pump of it and they'll try to rub it in. And it doesn't rub in really well on human skin. Obviously our skin is a little different than dog skin, but it kind of sits on our skin and it'll be a little sticky because it's a heavy conditioner. And I like it. It rubs in well, and it absorbs into the skin well. But I've not tried their wash yet. And I just realized I forgot to mention Artero's vitalizing treatments too. They have a protein treatment and a keratin treatment. These are really, really good. If you want to do a warm conditioning mask or a warm oil treatment, if you will, you can also use this and put in some of the jojoba or argan oil, olive oil. I wouldn't use usually the olive oil as a warm oil. That's a really heavy oil. That's something you might want to mix in with your conditioner because of how dense it is. The viscosity of olive oil is a lot heavier than some of these other oils. But argan, jojoba, avocado is another good one, and you can kind of supercharge this with a few drops of this oil if you want to use this directly to do your warm hydrating mask or a conditioning mask. I do have clients, or not clients, but groomers that will ask me sometimes, well, how do I come up with a name for these things? And you guys are certainly, I think it's super fun for people that are going back to their salons and implementing these care packages and forming these add-on services. I think it's super fun if you guys pipe up in the group too and kind of share what you're doing, the different names that you have for stuff. Like I do, hydrotherapy soak, or I'll do the Podicure package, like I said, or the warm oil mask. And different things like that sometimes can make them a little more sellable to clients. But you always want to take the time to educate them about what that process really involves and the products that you're using and why you're doing it, right? You don't want to just sell your client something. You want to invest in them understanding why you're offering what you're offering, because that lends credibility and accountability to the services and the products that you're using. So if anyone wants to pop up in the group and share what fun names that you've maybe come up with for seasonal offerings for symptoms that come in depending on the time of year, that would be great. I don't have a whole lot to offer in that realm, and I'm not necessarily that good at marketing this stuff. A lot of times I just do what the dog needs and I put it into the price, and if they ask me about it, I'll talk to them about it, what they need. If they don't seem interested, I'll just do it anyway, because I know that that's what the dog needs, and I just fit it into my price and everyone's happy. The dog gets what they need, I get paid fairly, and the client walks away with a pet that looks good and feels a lot better. Okay, let's see here. That's good to hear, Jody. Awesome. Using the Warren London for years as the last step of my short-coated. Good idea. Remember we talked about in class the short-coated, the obliquely coated dogs, your boxers, some Labradors that have tighter coats, Weimaraners, Visulas, those dogs that have a really oblique coat where it lays almost flat and they turn over coat very quickly. Pugs are another one. Those dogs need a lot of re-oiling, so they need a good quality conditioner, maybe even a conditioner with a little supercharged illegal oil added to it, but something to really re-moisturize that coat. And they need it done surprisingly a lot more than most owners think. A lot of times you only see a Labrador once a year. Those dogs shed a lot. They never really entirely stop shedding, and the shorter the coat, the faster it turns over, so it would just lend to merit that you want to groom those dogs more often, and every time you do it, make sure you're using a good conditioner as a follow-up. I have used the Nagayu through the shower head. I like it. I like the pucks just plain for soaking as well. Don't have any problem with the Nagayu system, nothing negative to say about it at all. I know they went through a changing of hands and a restructure, and it seems like they are now available through a different seller, but you're not going to be able to find them on Amazon. At least I haven't recently been able to find them on Amazon since that restructure went through. I think there was probably a formulation or copyright, trademark, something that went on with that company. But anyway, I do like them. I really like that little shower head. It's great for powering through packed coat, and the two things work together really, really well. Right. Any human products we should avoid? Sure, yeah, lots of human products. Don't buy crappy shampoo, obviously. If you're washing a dog in shampoo that's high in waxiest additives, has a bad surfactant or a slow-acting surfactant, you're going to get a bad outcome on the coat. You always want to try to, let me close this. You always want to try to stay within the pet grooming industry as much as possible with all of your topicals that you choose to use in the salons, in my opinion. You want to support your industry, the forward momentum of the industry, the professional credibility of the industry as much as possible. If you are seeking, however, a type of product that truly benefits the coat, whether it's a pure mineral like sulfur or mineral clay, or it's a true whole ingredient like your red clay, bentonite clay, active charcoal, things like that, it's safe to step outside into the human realm. You want to purchase a product that you know all of the ingredients are listed on it, and that you're using it for a similar reason to what a human would be using it for. Okay? So long as you do that, in my opinion, you are okay. But ideally, yes, we want to support our grooming system, or grooming industry, excuse me, and its product manufacturers, and try to encourage with our buying dollars the companies to invest in developing all of these products for us to have at the ready to deal with skin and coat issues on a spa level or a therapy level. The reality is that a lot of them just don't currently exist. If you find some that do, I would definitely tell you shop within the pet grooming industry first. Exhaust your resources there, and if you can't find what it is you're looking for, elemental sulfur, you're not going to find that available in the pet industry. You're going to have to look at that from a therapy or a spa level. Again, you can look at like Cleopatra's Choice. They sell elemental minerals and these oligo oils. So oligo, O-L-I-G-O, are just a building block oil. They are in their purest form, therapeutic and beneficial on a cellular level to the healing process. And sometimes you won't find those. In fact, you definitely won't find those in the pet industry. So it's okay to look on sites that are dealing specifically with addressing aesthetics and skin and hair health, on a human level, and invest in those products to add to your palette, if you will. But yeah, you definitely, if you're buying human products to cut corners or to affect your bottom line, you want to ask yourself, why am I doing this? If you're washing all the dogs in a dish soap or a cruddy shampoo, ask yourself, why? A lot of the human shampoos, they don't even have a surfactant that's going to be adequate enough to deeply clean the level of hair and dirt that we see coming into our salon on a pet coat. We don't have hair all over our body like animals do, so when we try to use a human hair product, a lot of times it won't even work. They end up coming out waxy and gross looking because it didn't remove all of the dirt and oil from the coat effectively. So you're actually double washing or triple washing those dogs, and therefore not saving any money whatsoever. It may be a little more readily available because you can get it at any convenience store in a pinch, but ideally we want to invest in our dog grooming industry and approach companies like Show Season or iGroom and let them know, hey, I really would like to see a product that involves this ingredient or provides this type of therapy or action upon the coat, especially Janet and Sandy at Show Season. They really like talking to groomers about what they would like to see available, and they are on it as far as developing new products. So, okay. Let's see. Hi, Lisa. Love you too, girl. Let's see, what would you use? Would you use a soak at the beginning of the bath and then an Nagayu at the end, or would that be too much? I don't think that would be too much. I would probably still follow up though in that situation with a conditioner. I'm big on a conditioner. We need to replace the removed moisture and oil from the coat, or to the coat that we've removed from by the bathing process. So even if you're using a Nagayu that has some added conditioning agents to it, I'd still, at a minimum, I would use a hydrating coat spray. And I just realized I did not grab my coat sprays. I think in class I mentioned I really like Crown Royal. I like the Moro conditioning coat spray that you guys got in your gift bags. That stuff's really, really good. It comes in a variety of scents. Their lemon verbena smells really, really good. It has a nice scent to it, and it's a lasting scent. But let's see, another one would be Evening Primrose Oil from Isle of Dog. They did do a reformulation on that a while ago, and there's a little more alcohol in it, I think, to help it evaporate into the coat or dissipate into the coat a little bit better. It does have a little bit of an alcohol scent to it, but Evening Primrose Oil is a really, really good conditioning agent for coat, and it does help with luster and shine as well. Nano Mist from Canine Competitions, another really good one. I like her spray. The Stuff Spray has been around forever. That's a good dimethicone-based, silicone-based coat spray that works really good for sealing the hair shaft and providing slip to the coat for de-shedding, and providing like some anti-static action on the coat. Let me see, what else do we have coming in? Espana Silk Protein, a solid enough protein shampoo to knock down those. Absolutely, I like Espana. I did not mention them, but yeah, their Silk Protein shampoo is really, really good too. The Artero, oh no, I'm not gonna be able to remember it. You know what? I'll put a list up of specific shampoos that I would recommend. I had said a while ago that I was going to do that, and I forgot. I just forgot. I'm sorry. But I'll put a list up in the group of some different brands that I have tried and I like and would recommend groomers, you know, give it a whirl. I don't, in the educational material, obviously don't recommend specific products just because I think you guys should, you know, pick and choose what you like. But a lot of groomers like to hear what other groomers are trying out and what they find beneficial as well. And maybe when I put that list up in the group, if you guys as members would like to pipe up on that thread and recommend the ones you're using that you really like as well, what you've seen them be beneficial towards, that would be great too. That's one of the great things about this group, guys, is that, yeah, like I teach the basic fundamental stuff, but the hands-on portion of this, it's so nice to have a group that like we're all working in our salons back home and we're all trying different things, and even though some of it might be anecdotal advice, it's still empirical because we're trying it and we're seeing an actual benefit, tried and true benefit on a case-by-case basis. So it's really nice to have the group where you can share those things, ask questions, and then you've got all of these minds coming together to try to lend you know, kind of an idea bouncing format to any one case that we may be dealing with in our salon. So certainly don't be shy. Speak up in the group, share what you have learned or share your questions. You know, 9 times out of 10, we can always find through a process of connecting the dots something that'll help every groomer out or just answer a question. I'm totally comfortable saying, I don't know, but I will find out. And there's been plenty of times when I don't know the answer to a question and I've had to go down some rabbit holes and find out those answers, but that helps me out too, so I appreciate that too. All right, let's see. Let me make sure. I'm gonna open up this video one more time, see if we got everything. Moro, yeah, so Moro, M-A-U-R-O, they went through a restructure too. Derek, I think was his name. He was one of the original founders of the company, and there was, I believe, a breakup of the co-founder situation, and I think what has happened is he's restructured and now the company has a different name. Katie Lepke, if you see this video and you know the name of that company, because it evades me, I can't think of it right now, it escapes me. Will you please pipe up and share that in the group too? But they had really, really, really good products. And he was a small company, really great customer service. The only thing with them was their shipping was really high. So if you do order from them, I'd recommend just stocking up. And their groomer concentrate, that's like a 16 to 1 or a 24 to 1. I think it's a 24 to 1. That worked really, really well too. I love that lemon verbena scent during the summer. It just has a really signature spa scent to it. And the stuff that I had on hand to sell to clients, their coat conditioning sprays that come in different scents, those sold really, really well. And they work really well for at-home grooming. They don't build up a lot on the coat. They provide slip on the coat to help with breakage. And they definitely add moisture to the coat. Remember in class we talked about trying to spend some time schooling your owners towards proper method and proper tools. They can help or hinder our work in the salon, right? So if we can just take a few minutes and show them, this is what I would recommend for tools to use on this dog's coat that you have in between grooming, and what type of products. And if you sell anything in the salon for topical products, I would definitely sell a coat conditioning spray or a hydrating spray of some type, because that's going to help them at home. If they're mastering their combing and brushing technique and they're overzealous or lack finesse with their tools and they're causing breakage of the coat, your coat conditioning spray is going to be your best friend, because they may actually be doing the combing and brushing that they claim they are, but the dog's coming in matted because they're damaging the coat and they don't know it. So spend some time educating. You may be helping yourself out. In fact, you're probably helping yourself out in the long run. All right. Comments. I really wish I could open comments without opening that video, but I can't. Froth that Moro. So Lisa says froth the Moro. Life-changing. There you go. You're welcome, Deanna. Can quality essential oils qualify as a legal oil? Your nut oils could. So if you have oils that are derived from the nut or fruit of the nut portion, like you can find argan oil, you can find jojoba oil available from your essential oil suppliers, then I would say yes. But other than that, no. Your botanical oils that come from, that are distilled or cold pressed from plant fiber or the plant flower, if you will, those are different than your illegal oils. Illegal oils have usually an MCT, so a multi-chain triglyceride base. Not always, but that what that does is I don't want to say feeds cellular growth, but it helps with repairing cellular loss or cellular damage. It's kind of a nutritive, mineral-based oil that you can add that's really, really good for skin and hair. It's good for keratin in general. But no, I would say essential oils in general wouldn't be considered an illegal oil. All right, we got some more stuff coming through here. How do you feel about the rubber curry brushes for short-haired dogs? I wouldn't do back and forth, Caitlin. If you're using like the Zoom grooms, even those Yuppie Puppy brushes that I see a lot of groomers using, they're not necessarily bad, but you're always going to want to go with the growth of coat when you're using those brushes. Anytime you're raking that, even if it's a soft rubber brush and the hair is wet, the skin is wet, so therefore it's at a slight disadvantage structurally. You're yanking on that hair in the follicle against its normal lay of coat. So especially on those oblique coated dogs, I would definitely be working your rubberized curries, or your rubber curries, with the growth of coat, not back and forth. Especially if the dog comes in and they're itchy, because then you're just going to probably irritate that skin even more. As a daily user of Moral Spray, I honestly was disappointed with the new line. Spina, that's what it's called. You're off the hook, Katie. Spina line for the spray. Shampoos were nice. Got a sample of his entire line. Okay. So you think maybe that he had changed the coat conditioning spray in the Spina line. It's possible, because a lot of these companies will purchase a base formula from a production or a supply company, and then they'll add their own ingredients or their own scents to kind of private label them, if you will. So that could definitely be the case. I've not used it since the fracture or the break. Okay. Have you tried Spina yet by the original? Okay. Thank you, Tracy, for that very much. I think that is everything. Yes, it's not the same. That's a bummer, because I really like that stuff. And I have a couple of little bottles left, so now I'm going to treat it like gold. Maybe maybe Moro will re-release under that name. I don't know. But as of now, it seems like they've kind of gone separate ways, and there's been some formulation issues. Okay. All right, everybody. We are going to wrap this up. If you think of more questions, certainly add them to the group, and I'll get to them as I can. But I won't leave you hanging. I'll find out one way or another the answer to any questions that pop up after the fact. I'm going to hit record or hit save when I finish up here on my phone. So you'll see me exit stage left here in stage left in just a second. And hopefully I can save this, and then I'm going to upload the entire thing to YouTube, and I'll share that secret link back here to the video or to the group once it's uploaded, which can take a really long time for a video that's upwards of an hour, a little bit over an hour. So, all right. Thank you guys so much for coming and spending some time with me. Really, really appreciate it. Like I said, last month's class was the last class of the year, and now I'm just here at the salon working, getting through the holiday season like everyone else. But if you have a free moment where you want to share a case study, or you want to come in the group and share a product that you used that was life-changing or really helpful, please do that. That's great, because it supports everyone that spent the time with this continuing education process, okay? All right, everyone have a good holiday. Oh, and I will be doing the Hey Joe podcast through Paragon. Tomorrow morning at 9 we're recording, and I think he said the episode should drop on December 20th. So if you listen to any podcasts, Hey Joe, the podcast through Paragon Pet Grooming School, is available, and I'll be on that. I just did another self-care for the holidays podcast with Mary Quendo through Women Petpreneurs. And yeah, I think that's all I got going on the horizon right now, which is good. It's good to have a break. All right, everybody, have a great holiday, okay? Thanks so much.